we are going to cover the best answer to the job interview question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So let's cover that. This is something that you could get asked in a job interview. What's going to happen in a job interview is that they are going to ask you a question about the future, and they're going to ask you a question about the past. This is how recruiters have been trained, taught in the last 30 years, certainly. So depending on how they phrase it, they may phrase it different ways. You're going to get one question about the past and one question about the future. And this is the question about the future. You're saying, where do you expect to be in 5 years? They're asking you for a blind prediction. Okay. Now, for if you're new to this, for a lot of people, it seems like this is a stupid question, like a lot of job interview questions, because they're asking you to gaze into a crystal ball and predict what's going to happen in 5 years. And that's ridiculous. For a start, you don't even know if you're going to get this job, right? You're here for interviewing for a job and they're asking you, where are you going to be in 5 years? Well, it depends if I get this job for a start, right? But that's not really what this question is about. You see, like a lot of job interview questions, they are probing for something that is more subtle. It's on the down low, right? There's a question beneath or behind the question, okay? And the purpose of asking this question is to try and determine, what do you really want to do with your life? What do you enjoy doing? Now, the implication of this is that if you're here for a job, to do a specific thing, right, and to do it in a specific way, they want to hire someone whose ambition is to do that actual thing, right? They don't want to hire someone who doesn't really care much about this job specifically. They're just here because they want any job that will pay them money, right? That's not what recruiters and hiring managers and employers want to hire. And I'm speaking from experience here. If you want to hire someone as a graphic designer, you want to hire someone who's passionate about graphic design, and they would do graphic design no matter what, right? That's the kind of person you want to hire to put in a role of graphic designer, right? You don't want to hire somebody that could work as a plumber or, a handyman or a kitchen technician or a graphic designer. You want someone who's passionate about graphic design, who eats, sleeps, and breathes it, and whether they work in it in this job or that job, or even if they don't have a job at all, they will still want to do graphic design, right? That's where this question comes in. They're asking you to predict where you're going to be in 5 years. Now, if you're up for the graphic design job, you don't want to say, oh, I want to be a plumber. I imagine myself moving away from graphic design and moving into plumbing, which is where my passion is. If you are into plumbing, you might really have a burning desire to wear your pants so that the top of your butt cleavage is exposed. I don't know. Hey, some people are just into that, right? Never shake a plumber's hand. But you know what I'm saying? That would be a fail for an answer. So let's talk about how to answer this. Okay. Don't say you'll be doing something else. Okay. As I implied, they are not actually looking for a real prediction from you. That's not what this is about. So don't take offense at the whole concept of this question because on the surface it's stupid and they're asking you for a blind prediction. It's not about a blind prediction. They're asking you about you, and about yourself and what you like doing and what you don't like doing and where you want to be, right? That's what they're really asking you about, okay? They're basically trying to get you to eliminate yourself by saying you want to do anything other than this job, right? That's a common thing that will get you eliminated by this question. And depending on if this company or this organization that is interviewing you, if they would like you to be ambitious or not, then if you say, I want to be right where I am now, that could also eliminate you, right? Some companies, they don't really care how ambitious you are. They don't want you to be particularly ambitious. If they hire you to be a graphic designer, they want you to be a graphic designer, okay? They don't want you to say, I see myself being a graphic designer for a year and then maybe moving up into management, right? They don't want to hear that because they're not hiring you to be a manager. They're hiring you to be a graphic designer. So they don't want to hear that necessarily. The other problem is that some companies, they do want you to be at least somewhat ambitious, right? If you're in a certain place and then 5 years later, you're still in that exact place, you haven't progressed at all or taken on new responsibilities or grown in any way, they may see that as a red flag, right? So that kind of muddies the waters a little bit. So if you say, you know, I'm up for a graphic design job, they ask you where you see yourself in 5 years, you say, I want to be a graphic designer, you know, but you don't say I want to be moving upwards or growing or anything like that. That can be an issue, right? So basically, the answer to this question that I would recommend a lot of people say is, you know, I see myself, one thing I got to say first is that this is an elimination question. This is not an opportunity or a platform for you to really talk yourself up and give them all kinds of great reasons why they would hire you. This is an elimination question. It's a pass-fail. So what you want to do is pass, but you don't want to spend 15 minutes on this question because you want to get to the part of the job interview where you sell yourself, where you give them a lot of great reasons to hire you. And this question doesn't really do that, okay? It's just a pass-fail thing. So you want a brief answer that shuts down the question relatively quickly, so you don't spend a lot of time here, but you pass, okay? And for that reason, I would say, if they ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years, or where do you see yourself in 10 years, or any of the other permutations of this question, okay? I would say, I expect to be right here. I expect to be advancing based on my performance, right? That leaves it kind of open. It doesn't hang you. You don't give yourself enough rope to hang yourself, but it also kind of leaves the door open for, like, you know, I want to progress a little, right? Now, some people, they expand this answer and they say, like, I expect to be have mastered this job. I expect to be an authority within this area, and I expect to be training others and sharing some of that knowledge and, you know, helping the organization by, you know, sort of improving and training newer employees in this area, you know, something like that, right? So that's what I would say. Now, a couple of notes I made for myself in these horrible notes that I can barely read. You see me glancing off to the side, right? So I got my second camera here. I'm glancing down here for my notes. Two things I wanted to mention is that, generally speaking, in a job interview, what you want to do is you don't want it to be an interrogation where they fire a question at you and you just give an answer, and then they fire another question, you give an answer. Ideally, what you'd like to do is have a conversation. So you have a free-flowing, two-way, back-and-forth exchange, right? And you get the interviewer talking more off the cuff. It's more organic, right? They're sharing more information. You're getting information from them as well as they're getting it from you, right? So a great way to start that is when they ask you a question and you give an answer, you end your answer by saying, is that what you were looking for? Or is that the type of thing you're looking for, you know, or something of that nature? So you give an answer and then you ask, you know, something to the effect of, does that please you, that answer? You know, is that what you're looking for? And then that starts to turn it into a conversation. They say, yeah, that's not bad. And it's like, okay, you know, or they say, yeah, that's pretty good. I was wondering if you were going to mention advancement, what's your attitude towards advancement or something like that? And then you start answering that and you end it with another question back at them. This is what I feel about advancement. You know, is that the type of thing that you guys generally do in this organization? You know, something like that. And next thing you know, they're telling you all about their organization and there's a bit more rapport going. So that's a great thing to do. And this question, which has a very short, curt answer, is a great opportunity to start turning the interrogation into a conversation. Okay. So there you go. And every time I press a button, it deletes part of my notes. That's beautiful. That's the command that I have of technology, just so everyone knows. Yeah. So there you go. So hopefully that makes sense. That's how I would respond to if you get asked in a job interview, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I would say, I expect to be advancing based on my performance, something like that. I have a passion, or you could say I have a passion for this type of work. I expect to be doing this and advancing based on my performance. And then if you want to try and turn it into a conversation, you then add, is that what you guys are looking for? Or is that what you were looking for? And there you have it.